Day 2 of our conservatory roof project to insulate our plastic conservatory roof. What we've done here is we've rolled out the Superquilt multi-layer insulation blanket. It is 10 metres long by 1.2 metres wide. Our roof for our conservatory is 4 metres length by 2.4 metres width. So we're anticipating that we'll have enough insulation. We're going to cut the roll 4.5 metres, 4.5 metres. We've got a metre spare at the end for just in case we need a couple of strips. We're a little bit unsure just how to tape it and just make sure it's going to cover the whole width of the conservatory project. We will see as we go along. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the strip into 4.5 metre lengths. The anticipation is we've got 1.2 metre width, and that will be wide enough to cover the width of the conservatory. First lesson of today. I originally tried to cut through the Superquilt with a Stanley knife. The material is very robust, so what I ended up doing to try and get a clean as cut as possible is get a big pair of scissors out, which weren't particularly sharp, but it did cut through it. So that is the first lesson of the day: have sharp scissors. Continuing day 2 of the conservatory roof project, we've cut up the insulation quilt into 4.5 metre long strips. What we're showing now is on day 1. Our conservatory has got a sloping roof angle of about 11 degrees. The width is 2.4 metres, the length is 4 metres, and what we put up on day 1 was the wooden battens onto the metal beams. The wooden battens are 18mm depth, 44mm wide, and what we're just about to do is to start stapling up the Superquilt onto the first fix battens. It's now midday. It's taken approximately 2 hours to staple up the insulation quilt. The insulation quilt, when it's inflated or when you unroll it, is 40mm thick, and we're using 14mm depth steel staples with our staple gun. We had quite an adventure trying to get hold of the staples. There seems to be shortages. If you go to Wickes and B&Q, we couldn't get any staples, and we had to go back into the garage and spend 2 hours searching for staples that we eventually found, so that solved that problem. So not the greatest job, would have been tighter ideally, but it's up, it's the right length. We are going to tape along the sides we've got aluminium foil tape, so we're going to tape it along the sides to make it as airtight as possible. The blue tape on the back wall is to identify where we're putting the cross battens on, approximately every 45 centimetres, so that we can then put the cross battens on and attach the PVC cladding to. End of our second day. We've fixed up the quilt onto the wooden battens with 14mm depth staples, staple gun. We taped along the middle. There's a little bit of an overlap, wasn't as big as we expected, because we just had enough width with the two 1.2 metre strips of the quilt. Quite hard work. You're obviously working against gravity. We are both desk people when we're at work, so it's very much DIY for us. So it probably took quite a lot of time, more than people that are more used to doing DIY. But we've got the quilt up. We've taped along the side wall. We haven't taped along the window sides. We will do that once we get the second fix batons, the cross battens up, which will be another day, and those battens are going to be put up so that they can support the PVC cladding. What will happen once those second fix battens up, it will tend to support the quilt, which is obviously drooping down, sagging down between the first fix battens. But very pleased with what we've done. It's really made a difference in terms of the amount of sunlight that's getting in. That's been quite surprising. It's obviously stopped the sunlight coming in from the roof. What we make sure is we want to make the ceiling as airtight as possible, and once we get the second fix battens up, we'll go round all the seals on the edges of the ceiling and make sure they are airtight. But after 2 days work, we're very pleased with what we've done, and I can imagine it's going to make a significant difference, both in the summer with not being boiling hot with the sun coming in the roof, and particularly in the winter where it was freezing cold, and that will make a significant difference with the heat not going out the roof now. So yeah, very pleased so far so good. Welcome to day 3 of the Insulated Conservatory ceiling project. Today we got the first batch of second fix battens up. The purpose of those battens is to fix the UPVC cladding onto those second fix battens to complete the ceiling. We've got a master length, as we can see, in front now, and we will use that in the coming days when we cut the rest of the lengths. On the top left hand side we can see a black cable coming in from outside. The purpose of that cable is to wire into the LED string lights that will be put up in due course. The idea is we've bought 400 watt PV solar system that we will put onto our roof. So we've bought 4 100 panels. They are flat, flexible PV panels, along with a battery and inverter and solar converter. So what we'll do is outside we'll have the battery outside, we'll have the inverter outside because they can be quite noisy, and we'll have the controller inside so that we can switch on and off the power to a trailing socket, a main socket that we're going to put through a hole in the brickwork underneath the windows, so that we can power, for example, a tall standing lamp from, or power other mains equipment from. Welcome to the 4th day of the conservatory ceiling project. What we've done today is we've got the second fix battens up. We've finished the second fix battens. We have screwed them on to the first fix battens and through the insulation. We've taped along the walls, and we have stapled up approximately half of the UPVC strips, so it's progressing very well. Continuing day 4, what we've got is approximately half the PVC strips up, so that's worked really well. We staple the lip on the tongue and groove onto the second fix battens, and that's worked very well. The only slight problem was that 1 or 2 of the PVC strips, the lip where you staple it onto the wooden battens, 1 or 2 of the strips, the lip was not quite wide enough. There isn't a huge amount of play on it in terms of stapling it on, and 1 or 2 of the strips, the lip was actually a little bit shorter than the others, which made stapling on next to impossible. Other than that, once you get into a rhythm, you can staple quite quickly. You've obviously got to just ease in the tongue and groove and just be reasonably gentle with that, and obviously measure it to the right length as well. What we'll do along the window side is we will probably just silicone seal it onto the PVC windows, and on the wall side we will put some clothing up to finish it off. Welcome back to day 7 of our insulated conservatory ceiling project. We have fixed the last 4 PVC strips onto the second fix battens, and there is only a small gap left to the wall, allowing for the polystyrene coving to cover the gap. We haven't fitted the coving yet because we will repaint the walls at a later date when we have finished renovating the rest of the house and move the dining room into another part of the house. Along the left hand side at the window side, we have glued up 15mm by 15mm angle strips to finish off that side. The blue tape is just there to hold in place for 24 hours to have the glue cure properly. We haven't decided yet whether to fix low voltage LED strip or low voltage LED string lighting to the ceiling. Whatever choice we make, the lights will be powered off-grid, so to speak, via 12-volt solar panels and battery backup, which we will install in the coming weeks. The solar system will be the subject of a future video. We wish to go off-grid as much as possible to have security of supply and insulate ourselves from continually increasing electricity prices.